I'm David Elder. I'm a husband, a father, a home cook, and a food fanatic.
That is amazing!
Woo! I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here as soon as I could. Texas food is diverse, full of both history and culture. Join me as I travel to farms and restaurants, sharing recipes from friends across the Lone Star State.
Welcome to Military City, USA. We're in San Antonio, Texas, home of the 5-time NBA champion Spurs, the world-famous Alamo, and of course, Tex-Mex food. San Antonio is one of the oldest cities in the United States with a deep and rich culture, and it's boasting a population of more than 2 million people and growing strong. This is the historic San Antonio Riverwalk, located in the heart of downtown San Antonio. It was originally conceived in 1929 by Robert H. Hugman. Took a few decades to build out, but in the 1950s, it was completed. But since then, a few things have changed along the way, but something that's never changed is the warmth and compassion of the locals around the area and the delicious food. We're going to explore the different types of Tex-Mex that San Antonio has to offer. We're going to eat some great food, and who knows, we may even learn a thing or two. So you ready? Because this is how Texas eats.
I've eaten a lot of Tex-Mex food in San Antonio.
This is probably one of the best things I've ever had.
All the way from the very traditional to fusion. So I narrowed down restaurants that encapsulate the meaning of Tex-Mex food, and what better place to start than on the west side of San Antonio at the birthplace of the Puffy Taco.
Let's go inside Ray's Drive-In. This is the masa. This is where it all begins.
Yes.
What goes into your masa that makes it a little different than other places?
All the love. I'm telling you. I believe it's still in the hands that make it. Ingredients could be the same in one place to the other.
This has been here for a while, right? This machine. So this is actually, he's seen a lot, right?
Yes. It's vintage, but it still works.
Now that the masa is mixed, what's the next step?
Goes right into the hands.
Let's go check it out. So who's with us here today making them perfect?
This is Angelina.
And she's knocking them out over here. So, I mean, she already has a nice stack of them over there, and she's continuing to make them.
Correct.
How many do you make like a day?
Over 500 a day, easy.
That is incredible.
Yes. We make a lot of puppies.
Yeah, a lot of puppies. All right, so once they're all rolled out, ready to go, nice and flat, what's the next step?
Then we go to the fryer. You put this beautiful masa shell into the fryer where it's super hot, and it does its puffy thing.
And it puffs up. Look at that. Oh, it's so magical. When it jumps in, it just starts it's like a little spring of delicious flavors happening right here.
It's not your hard corn shell, and it's not a soft corn shell. It's crispy and yet fluffy and puffy.
So now they're all fried up, they're crunchy, they're puffy, they're ready to go. Where do we go next?
Go to the assembly line.
Wonderful. This is where all the magic is, because this is like the final step.
Yes.
What are we looking at on the line?
We've got the pollo, we've got our picadillo, we have our beans, we have the guisada, and you can top them lettuce, tomato, cheese, salsa, whatever you'd like. Your choice.
Anything you want, right?
Anything you want.
Tons of tacos are being made in here, but we have some made just for us, and we're ready to go try them, right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
In the 1950s and 60s, Ray's Drive-In referred to their tacos as crispy tacos, and it wasn't until the 1970s that they were called puffy tacos, a name that is now copyrighted by the restaurant.
My favorite's the chicken.
Yeah.
For sure. See, I love
yeah.
the chicken, but I mean, the guisada is amazing here.
I even like the avocado one myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the tacos themselves, they were created by accident.
The story I heard was the little stick they were using fell in the masa in the fryer and formed the puffy. So it was an accident. So my Uncle Ray took the ball and ran with it. Okay.
Cheers. Such a good texture on the outside. The meat has so much flavor to it. The gravy, the sauce that's in the guisada, and all the fresh elements on the salad that are on there, the lettuce, the tomatoes. You can tell it that was just cut right now. Ray's Drive-In right here in San Antonio, a crucial Tex-Mex hotspot here that you have to try. Food is fantastic. The people, everything here about it, the history, the legacy. One of the best places you can come to in San Antonio.
We're leaving the west side and headed to the medical center to go into a restaurant that's serving up some Tex-Mex fusion.
Chef Cesar Zepeda's in the kitchen doing some magic, so we're gonna go inside, see what they're making and how they're making it. Let's go. Now we're inside the kitchen over here at Sangria on the Berg. My man, Chef Cesar Zepeda, he is over here. He's gonna be showing us how they make their pork belly tacos. Take us through. What do you do?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's a lot of seasoning, to be honest with you, because you're smoking this,
Yeah.
and then you're grilling it, you're roasting it, so you want that to be heavy on there.
Can you over-season this before you smoke it?
Not if you don't use a ton of salt.
Lower the salt, increase the actual spices, and you'll never have to worry about over-seasoning.
You're good?
That's a teachable moment right there. So when you look at the seasoning that's here, I mean, the comino, it stands out. It's such a strong, prevalent scent, but it works so well with that pork. I love that he's using it. So now you have it all seasoned right here. Time to go into the smoker. So what do you have your smoker set at, and how long do you let it smoke?
Right around 130, smoking about 4 hours.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. My favorite thing to cook is something like brisket that you can take a necessarily not great piece of meat and cook it low and slow and make it into something magical. There we go. A few hours later, we have smoked pork belly.
When you walk up to that smoker and that smoke hits your face, man, it feels like you're at a camping trip. It's great though, but that smell, that smells like Texas barbecue. All right, Cesar, so now we've smoked the meat and you have the meat ready to go. So how do you make the tortillas?
This is your vessel. This is maseca. Been made, a little bit of water, a little salt. Take it in your press right there.
Yep.
Every day, every single one hand pressed.
I love this technique. It's the bag cut, right? You cut off the zip part and then you cut off the edge and now you have this wonderful like non-stick surface for your tortilla press.
That's how it works. You want to try one?
Yeah, let me try one out here.
Go for it.
So like you said, it's like really just, it's corn,
It's corn.
a little bit of fat, right?
A little bit of fat, some corn,
water.
water, salt, water. Take it down, press all the way. There it is.
Tortilla.
There you go.
You know what I love about tortillas is they're like people. They're all so different and beautiful in their own way.
Perfect. Why is yours better than mine?
I don't know, man. You're supposed to be the pro at this, man.
I'm sorry. Nothing's like a fresh corn tortilla. And until you have one, your store-bought one doesn't even come close. After you press it, it goes right on the griddle just like that. Boom. Right on. Tuesday, over 1,000 hand-pressed corn tortillas.
Over 1,000 on one day.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday is a real thing. That's almost
It's a
like
thing.
it's like a culty religion kind
It's
of thing.
before LeBron made it cool, we made it cool.
Yeah. How long do you let them stay on one side when you're cooking them?
It's about 2 minutes. Corn tortillas, a simple flip like that. Dave, your hands have to be used to the heat though. I don't know. You have pretty hands, I'm not sure.
Yeah. They're not meant. No, they are. They're fine. You're really just looking for that brown color, right? It's like a texture.
Just a little bit of brown. You want to overcook them because then they get hard. See that? It's already softened up. These are almost ready.
Oh wow. Now this one's already been seasoned. It's already been smoked, so it's got a really nice flavor to it. How do you finish it off?
We put it on the grill. This is a mosquito nut grill. It's already been smoked. It's already been roasted. So we put it on there. It's the last step. So a 3-step process on this pork belly. Nice little brown color on it. The fat is rendered out because it's been cooked so long. Now it's ready to make a taco.
Right onto the tortilla, and then what do you load it with here?
Okay, this is mango pico de gallo. So a little bit of our pico de gallo. That mango really cuts any smokiness we have, so that's a nice way to just kind of dress it up. The last one is a pepita salsa. So we're coming to pepita, jalapeno, a little cilantro, oil. So that's really just brings that herbiness to it. And the last thing we put is a little bit of queso fresco.
Just straightforward, simple goodness.
Awesome.
All right, I gotta take a bite now.
Go for it.
All right. Smoked pork belly taco. Assembling the taco, you got that fresh corn tortilla, you have that pork belly that's been smoked, it's been oven roasted and then finished on the grill, and the flavor and the smell just alone from that. But then you put that mango pico de gallo on top, you put some of that sauce on there and some of the cheese. That taco's out of this world, man. When you want Tex-Mex on the next level, I'm gonna call it Next Tex. Next Tex. That is phenomenal. My goodness. And it's a taco, right? It's Tex-Mex. It's a twist on Tex-Mex. But the flavors, the fruit, everything plays so well together. So it's a little sweet, nice smoky flavor. You also get nice saltiness to it. So it's savory. The cheese helps calm everything down. Sauce gives it a little spice to it, and the tortilla has a great texture to it. It's a wonderful vehicle for all of these flavors. Dude, Chef, you know what's going on, man.
Hey, brother.
So you got any like tips for people at home making a good pico?
It's a classic pico. It's just your onions, your jalapeno or serrano, whatever you want to use, a little bit of lime juice. Then the sweetness of the mango just really fights that smokiness. There's a lot of smoke inside, there's smoke outside, so it really kind of brings it back and has that balance. It's like a good drink. Sweet and savory.
Now that's a teachable moment. What other famous taco do you have on the menu?
Brisket is Texas, #1 meat.
Brisket's king, baby. That's where it's at.
A lot of the same processes, the smoking, the cooking, and then we're gonna finish it off. Not your typical slice, because we put all of our onions and our jalapenos and everything back in there.
Oh, okay.
Very simple process that, you shred it. For tacos, it works a lot easier than having to pull brisket.
Oh, look at the steam.
So, a little bit barbecue sauce. This is house barbecue sauce.
Oh yeah, house barbecue sauce. What's in it? Tell me about it.
Onions, garlic, chilies, little sweetener, which is usually honey, but it changes all the time. Onions, because you have your texture, you have your sauce, and then you have your brisket.
I love that you only use 3 items really to like top everything. This one only has the 2. I mean, but it's so simple, but it works so well.
We like to have the main thing, which is the brisket shine. For brisket tacos, not normal, but when you do it the way we do, it's really appreciated.
All right, brisket taco, man.
I made it.
It already just smells good. I love that. Look at that bite. That's where it's at.
About 14 hours on that brisket. A lot of time goes into it. Then everything that we use, the aromatics, the jalapenos, the garlic, onion, get folded back into the meat. We taste it all.
I'm like stunned at how well that barbecue sauce is playing with that brisket. It's like an amped up ketchup. Tomato-based barbecue sauces already kind of use ketchup base, right? But this one is like, it's sour, but it's also got a nice little tang to it, and it's salty. It got a little spice in there. Is that from the meat?
That's from the meat and the sauce.
Nice. And the texture from the onion strings, that's where it's at. That's that little extra crunch in there.
Just finishes it out, it gives you what's normally a soft shredded brisket with the sauce that gives you that texture you need to bring it home.
I just want these as chips. I just want to dunk them in some dressing. I just want to put in some barbecue sauce. That's goodness, man.
So learning from old ladies cooking, that's really how I honed my skills and learned, okay, this is what San Antonio wants, and it really got me ready for Sangria on the Bird.
Coming up later on Texas Eats, we're traveling to a tasty Tex-Mex food truck. And next on the show, we're shopping at a San Antonio H-E-B to get ingredients to make my mom's Tex-Mex Enchilada casserole. So don't go anywhere. Texas Eats, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here at H-E-B to do some grocery shopping to make my mom's Tex-Mex Enchilada casserole. It uses really simple ingredients, and it starts with pico de gallo. This right here is H-E-B's pico de gallo. It's already ready for you, so it's ready to rock and roll.
H-E-B offers mild, medium, and hot pico de gallo. All 3 are different based on the amount of serrano and jalapeno peppers in the mix.
I'm gonna stick with the medium because I want some flavor, not too much spice. H-E-B has made it really easy to find the best cheese for Tex-Mex dishes. In fact, they call it Tex-Mex for a reason. It's American and cheddar cheese blended together. So you're getting the sharp flavors from the cheddar, but the melty goodness of the American cheese. This is the perfect one. For this recipe, you can use any protein you want. You can use pork or beef, but I'm gonna use the H-E-B rotisserie shredded chicken. All the work's done for you, and it's really flavorful and super tender. What I love about H-E-B's is that they have tortillerias inside there. So they're making fresh tortillas. They're making flour, wheat, and a corn flour mixture. But for this recipe, we're looking for straight corn tortillas. So we're gonna actually go to the bread aisle to find those.
Get down, baby!
When it comes to corn tortillas, there's 2 different kinds. There's white and there's yellow, right? So the white ones are typically more pliable, so you're gonna wanna use those if you're actually rolling the enchiladas. But since this is a casserole, we actually just need to use these yellow ones. So we're gonna be laying them out flat, and we're gonna be frying them up so the oil will make them a little bit more pliable. All right, so this recipe calls for you to get the corn tortillas, and you're gonna wanna lightly fry them. You're not making chips, you're just gonna make them a little bit more pliable, right? So I'm gonna be using a canola oil for this recipe because it has a higher smoking point and it's a good flavor. Using this one. Go down the aisles, and I believe we're gonna go down aisle 10. So I was trying to find the tomatillo salsa from Mi Tierra to use for this recipe, but it was really hard to find. So I went on the app, and it's really cool. They actually have a thing, you put in the product, and sure enough, it tells you what store it's available in, which this is the one we're at, and it tells you what aisle. And it says aisle 11, and that's where we're at. Got it right here, got our sauce, and now ready to go get some more ingredients. And last but not least, you need some sour cream. This is gonna help kind of balance all of that flavor out, give you some nice creaminess, and it adds a little bit of flair on top of the dish. All right, so now we have everything we need to make this recipe, so we're gonna go check out here at the front. Perfect. And check that. So what is the total on there? So only $30.47 to feed a family of 5 with this meal, and you're gonna have some tortillas and some oil left over, so you get to use that in different meals. So really, it's very cost effective. Put on my face. So now we have all the items we need to go make my mom's Tex-Mex Enchilada casserole. So coming up later in the show, we're traveling to the Texas Eats Kitchen at the Culinary Institute of America, where we're gonna be cooking that up. And coming up next on the show, we're actually traveling to different Tex-Mex restaurants around San Antonio, eating all their delicious food and seeing how they make it all. This is a smoked barbacoa quesadilla, and this is a shrimp grilled cheese sandwich. We're gonna go inside Ike Rico food truck to see how they're making these Tex-Mex favorites, because this is how Texas eats.
First thing we gotta do is cook the shrimps. It's marinating in a garlic and cilantro blend that I made earlier. I say for a shrimp grilled cheese, I like to use about anywhere from 5 to 6 shrimp. We'll go with 6 today. So we're gonna dome that up so it can start cooking. Hand me the toast, David.
Oh man, look at that. Where'd that toast come from?
HB Texas toast, the finest. We like to use the finest.
Butter it up.
Gotta make sure it has some good coverage on there.
So the whole thing with shrimp and seafood, right? You can't overcook it, right?
Yeah, you can't.
This is a very fast process.
Yeah.
You guys are a food truck and you're cranking out.
You gotta be quick.
Yeah, fast food.
What I like to do too is I cut them up, kind of dice it up real quick.
Okay.
And then
does that help kind of cook it evenly at that point?
the main reason is just to kind of speed up the cooking a little bit, get it more evenly cooked, and to distribute it into the sandwich a little more evenly.
Nice.
I think it's ready for the aioli right now, actually. Can you hand me that?
Yeah. All right, there you go.
So this is a garlic aioli that we made ourselves. And I like to just lay it on the shrimp and the grill. That way it kind of gets the aromatics going of the garlic.
As soon as that hit the grill, the garlic just like punches you in the face, man. That's awesome.
Exactly. So the aioli sauce kind of brings it all together, you know. Hand me the Monterey Jack right there. Woo. Yeah, ready? So the secret is
lots of cheese.
lots of cheese. 1, 2
Oh my
handfuls of
gosh.
cheese, you know. You can kind of start kneading it a little bit, you know, folding it over.
Yeah, you could probably adhere 2 bricks to each other with this amount of cheese. Look at that.
So this is the magic right here.
When it starts melting, it looks a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah, at first we used to just put 1 handful and we would end up with that.
Shrimp grilled cheese sandwich over here at Ike Rico food truck. You have the aioli, the garlic, the cilantro, a lot of flavors that come from a traditional Mexican dish. You're throwing in the Tex-Mex though by having the Texas toast and all that gooey, cheesy niceness on there. But here we go, look at that sandwich. Oh, really good. It tastes like a shrimp Alfredo inside of a sandwich. It's an absolutely amazing sandwich with the cheese in there. And you think it's a lot of cheese, but when you bite into it, it's the perfect amount. Nice and creamy, great flavors in there, and of course, nice little salty touch to it too to help finish everything off, brighten up the flavors. This is a killer sandwich, and the toast is done right. Everything about this is a home run.
Now it's time to make the smoked barbacoa quesadilla.
So use the
the same cheese as the grilled cheese, the Monterey Jack.
Monterey Jack cheese is kind of the theme of the truck.
So we're gonna put the barbacoa back on, and then the barbacoa, we just wanna make sure it's nice and wet.
And now barbacoa, this is traditionally, it's cheek meat, right? It's beef cheek meat.
It's a different variation. I mean, traditionally from Mexico, I mean, you're gonna make it out of the whole head. But I like to use the beef cheek. It's really tender. Some people use the tongue. I mean, it really just depends what you like to use. You always wanna flip it over, check, make sure you get a nice little toastiness right there. So what a lot of people like to do is they like to load theirs up. So they'll add the jalapeno cream cheese, they'll add the pico de gallo, and they'll add the avocado. So we're gonna lay it on there.
That looks absolutely
After that,
amazing.
see how you had the little crispy part?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I love crispy cheese. The burnt cheese part, that's my favorite.
Love it. Man, I cannot wait, man. I gotta eat this thing. This right here is the Ay Que Rico homemade green salsa. I'm gonna put it on top of this quesadilla. There you go. It's nice and creamy, has a nice texture to it, good body, so it's gonna hold on to whatever you put it onto. That's the bite. The crispiness from the cheese on the outside mixed with the butter, you're gonna get a nice toast on there, so it's just a crunchy texture. And then you have all that good smoke flavor coming from the barbacoa, the acidity off the pico de gallo, and that melty, cheesy goodness for that Monterey Jack cheese. And then that green salsa just finishes it off, that little spicy kick to it. This is an extremely delicious quesadilla.
Ay Que Rico food truck is a killer example of some Tex-Mex fusion. And coming up later on the show, we go inside the kitchen at a San Antonio Tex-Mex icon. And coming up next, H-E-B shows us how to make a high-protein, low-carb tortilla with a very interesting product. All that and more when Texas Eats continues.
Welcome back to Texas Eats. We're over here at the KSAT 12 studios, and right behind me is the H-E-B Backyard Kitchen. Now, we're gonna be talking with Chef Scott and Charlotte, and they're gonna be showing us how to make tortillas using the grain-for-grain low-carb flour. We're also gonna be making fajitas that you can buy at H-E-B, and how to make pico de gallo. Let's go check it out. Tex-Mex, you can make it cheesy, you can make it gravy, you can make it sauced up, but you can also do it healthy.
Located right outside San Antonio in Boerne, Texas, the company Grain for Grain is producing a low-carb, high-protein, high-fiber flour from spent grain. That's the grain left over from making beer.
When a brewery takes barley, they're using the best barley they could find and get their hands on to boil and extract the carbohydrates out. So what spent grain means is the spent part is it's spent from its carbohydrates from the brewer's standpoint. There's no market for it really, so they just try and get rid of it. So I'm asking everybody, what is the most efficient way to dry this? We ended up figuring out a way, which is what our patent pending process is now. Got this equipment built and then shipped it to Texas. And we're like, okay, we're gonna start this in San Antonio, let's give it a shot. And then we did. We learned how to make it into flour, and then all of a sudden people are like, this is such a cool story. You guys are using waste in Texas, trying to help Texas eat better, and we have a giving back program. So Grain for Grain stands for every pound that we give a portion away, grain for grain. And then what's really cool is because there's no carbohydrates left, and when it's dried, bacteria has nothing to eat. So as long as you keep it sealed and away from air for long periods of time, really it's an indefinite shelf life. This is something that can really change the world in a way. Like we're taking something that literally in the US, 6 million tons of this goes to waste, and all of a sudden we're now able to turn that into a consumable product for humans.
This is the same stuff that they're using to make beer out of, and now they're making flour out of it. It's incredible. All right, so our whole episode is all about Tex-Mex food today, and this actually makes a really good tortilla.
Oh yeah. It does bake differently because there's no gluten or carbs.
Yeah.
So you have to follow a unique way of baking with it, but you can do a lot with it.
It's keto friendly.
Very keto friendly.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Check this out. 25 grams of fiber per serving. This will help you if you need help. This is when you're looking at the packaging here, you can actually see the partners that you're working with here locally. These are the guys that you're actually getting all this barley from, right?
So we work specifically with Freetail and Alamo. So Freetail and Alamo, they're local microbreweries here. We take all of their barley, their spent grain, after they've used it to turn into beer.
the flour that you're consuming at one point
Yeah.
is also probably the beer you're drinking. What a great concept. And now if people want to get their hands on this stuff, this is actually on the shelves at H-E-B.
Yes, they're in the baking aisle. So they're not in the pancake mix aisle. They're right by where you would find almond flour.
And now it's time to make some tortillas.
What we're gonna do is start in a mixer, and we're actually gonna do sort of a blend of a corn tortilla and a flour tortilla, right?
Cool.
So we're gonna add that into our mixer, and then we're gonna add the dry masa. That's okay. It's all right.
sprinkling it a little
Yeah,
bit.
It's good. It's good.
That's right. Over the
This
shoulder,
is
right?
organic, right?
Yes.
And we want a little bit of fat because the barley in this recipe makes it kind of like, it makes it hard, and the fat's gonna soften that up. We're gonna start with a little bit of water, maybe like half a cup at first, and then we're gonna turn it on, and we're just gonna let it go. And I have some that I already made.
Yeah, so the magic of TV, there we go. You have some made right here.
Yeah, we can just turn that off.
Look at the texture of this one right here. So this is
like
you
Play-Doh.
It's
Get your hands
Play-Doh.
in
Yeah,
it.
It's time to rest. I like it.
This one actually, you can see this is the texture you're going for.
It's a good, yes.
And it's a good amount of fat that it's been distributed around there, and it's going to hold it all together. Give it a little bit of flavor, right? A little bit of love.
Also, we added salt to this, and this would be a great opportunity if you wanted to like add some different flavor. You could add cumin to this. You could add like chipotle, whatever you want,
Lime
right?
juice instead of water.
There we go. You portion these guys out, right, and then you kind of roll them. We want like medium heat, not too hot, not too cold. Just
You don't want to burn
right?
them,
Don't want to burn them.
Yeah.
All right, so here we
look
go.
at that one.
Ooh la la. All right.
How long do you think they take to cook?
45 seconds to a minute per side, depending on how hot your griddle is. And we have some that we already made
And there you
right
go.
here.
They
And
look
they're
really
great.
cool. They
They're
look very
really
authentic.
beautiful, and they have great color.
And they're nice and pliable.
Yeah.
And that's an important part. You need a pliable tortilla to use. And I love that the way you're making it here, if you made them a little bit thicker, you can make gorditas out of
Yes.
these, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you can like cut them open and you can just shove it, whatever all this goodness right here, you can just put them right in there. While we're finished up the tortillas, the fajitas are finished cooking.
Fajitas are going, they're
So
still
Scott, you're going
going.
to show us how to make a quick pico de gallo.
Exactly.
What is your technique? How do you do it?
Tomatoes is the base. Now you don't have to use Romas. Romas is what I like to use.
Would
You
you
can use a
this
different
whole-
beef
I
steak.
like onions in
Yeah,
this.
then go heavy. And you want jalapenos? I got some jalapenos here, so you can add as much as you want.
We'll just go like that. Look at that.
Yeah, do that.
Oh, whatever.
You
We'll throw it all in.
Okay.
Cilantro, however aromatic you want it, you can throw as much cilantro in as you want. So we zest
I'm making
the garlic
quesadillas.
so that all it does is come out with just like, it just blends beautifully.
Yeah.
So I'll let you zest the garlic in there. We just
Okay.
go all the way down to the actual little stem. Once you make a pico de gallo, the longer it sits, that salt's gonna pull a lot of the water, so you're gonna get this beautiful kind of liquid that's got the onion, the cilantro, the tomato, and the jalapeno, and it's all just got this beautiful liquid. I like to use that liquid to make a salad dressing with, because it's gonna have a lot of beautiful flavor. Fajitas is I would say a tougher cut of meat. It eats really, really well as long as you cut it against the grain, so you just cut it in slices. And the thinner you go, the better, again, because it's a little more tough. But you see like how the meat's all separated now, so you could
put that in there.
Yeah, good.
This looks absolutely fantastic. You guys, thank you so much for sharing these recipes with us. And of course, you can get all these products at your local H-E-B. Go check them out. The Grain for Grain, a fantastic product, a great message, and a great mission that they have going on. The
Yeah.
Tex-Mex cheese, of course, Charlotte, she had to rock it out.
My favorite.
And this tortilla recipe is available on ksat.com/Texas Eats. And of course, the fajitas, the pico de gallo recipe will be on their web. But the fajitas, just go to H-E-B and grab them. It's just easier that way. I'm gonna take a bite though. Thank you guys so much.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
That was absolutely delicious. You would have never thought that low-carb flour could really make a great tortilla, but it did. Grain for Grain's amazing. Don't go anywhere. Texas Eats will be right back.
So far in today's Tex-Mex tour of San Antonio, we've been to Ray's Drive-In, the birthplace of the Puffy Taco. We've learned about Tex-Mex fusion at Sangria on the Berg. We went shopping at H-E-B's. We went inside a Tex-Mex fusion food truck, serving up some killer quesadillas and grilled cheese sandwiches. And H-E-B showed us how to make tortillas using a high-protein, low-carb flour produced by a local company.
Today we're out here at the historic Market Square, known for Mi Tierra, and of course the restaurant La Margarita. That's where we're going to be at today. Gerardo Carvajal, he's been with the business for 25 years. He's going to be showing us how they make their green salsa here from scratch and how you can make it at home.
What we're gonna be working with is the tomatillo sauce. We're gonna add the tomatillos, maybe 2 cloves of garlic, and maybe a little bit of onion. So we're gonna
To make green salsa, you got to use a lot of green things, right?
not do it, just cut them up.
Oh, is that a trick?
It will work.
Over the shoulder. There we go. Okay, and then some pepper.
That's it.
That's it. You want it?
Please.
No, please.
Please. Do me a favor.
No, please.
All of the veggies go into a pot and cook for 15 minutes at a medium-high heat.
And it's done. 15 minutes,
Oh,
and this is the final product right here.
Can you see the steam coming out?
Oh yeah, oh my gosh. How long has the family been making this sauce?
Just about 80 years.
Oh, just 80.
Yeah.
Now, do you put the water in there too?
Just a little bit, not much. Although if you like it really runny, yes, you can add more of the water.
No runny sauce in this place, no. Oh yeah, it's like we're making a green smoothie.
That's a good thing with this green salsa. You can add to pork, you can add it to the beef, you can do chicken, just about anything you want to do with it.
So it's a very versatile sauce.
Yes.
Oh, look at all this steam. That is goodness. Okay, as soon as you take the top off, the smell just hits you. It is fantastic. So the sauces here, all made from scratch. And if you're not up to the challenge of making this salsa at home, don't worry about it. It's all jarred, and you can get it at your local H-E-B. The sauce is ready to go. Now it's time to make some enchiladas.
Enchiladas. We're gonna add a little bit of oil to the tortilla.
And why do you do that?
It makes it more pliable.
That's the secret word of the day, pliable.
We're gonna go to the comal.
Okay.
You're not cooking it, just reheating it.
You can use any kind of protein, but today we're going with chicken. There's also vegetarian options. And once they're all rolled, time to get sauced.
Oh, that's gorgeous. And this is just enough to cover it, is that correct?
Never enough for me.
And what kind of cheese is that?
This is a Monterey Jack cheese.
All right, so we have our enchiladas. They're rolled, and they have the chicken on the inside, sauce on top, Monterey Jack cheese. And now it's time for the
Oven.
Let's do it.
Into the oven, top right there. Be careful, don't burn yourself.
How hot is the oven, and how long does it cook?
350, 375, 2-3 minutes. Everything is cooked in there. All we want is just to melt the cheese. Now it's been about 2 minutes. The cheese is ready. So, what do you think here?
Oh my goodness, it's melted perfectly. You can actually feel that there's a lot of love put into it. I know love's not a real ingredient, right? It's the extra amount of time they put into the sauces. That's why it's such an iconic restaurant here in San Antonio. I mean, and the food's phenomenal. You can't beat this classic Tex-Mex food.
We're gonna add a little bit of a sour cream, which really goes well with the acidity of the tomato. We're ready.
It's ready to eat?
Be my guest.
I got a fork and knife right here. I'm ready to go. It's a little sweet. It's perfectly savory. We had a good amount of salt to it, right? But all the flavors from the vegetables and, of course, the tomatillos, it is the perfect blend of flavors. And you can tell why this sauce has been around for 80 years. And the sauce and the chicken really complement each other. Not one or the other is taking over. The cheese on top, of course, it's Monterey Jack cheese. Adds a little bit more salt to it, which is really nice. But then the sour cream, the crema that's on top, it balances everything out. So it's cutting through the acidity, a little bit of fat, a little bit of cream, and it really just adds to that final little like rounding out of the whole bite. This is a home run.
Beautiful.
Man, this is a great thing. Eduardo, thank you so much for having us out here. Here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
La Margarita is one of San Antonio's oldest authentic Tex-Mex restaurants. The Cortez family has been operating here for almost 80 years, and for good reason.
What a tremendous experience being out here at the historic Market Square. It's the delicious food, the amazing people, and that feeling of community. Every time I come out here, and I come out here often, it feels like a new experience.
Later in the show, we're wrapping things up at the historic Pearl Brewery. And next, I show you how to make my mom's Tex-Mex Enchilada casserole.
So don't go anywhere. Texas Eats will be right back.
Show, I shopped at a San Antonio H-E-B to acquire the ingredients to make my mom's Tex-Mex Enchilada casserole.
Only $30.47 to feed a family of 5 with this meal, and you're gonna have some tortillas and some oil left over, so you get to use that in different meals, so really, it's very cost effective.
And now, we're at the Culinary Institute of America, located at the historic Pearl, to get cooking.
And now, it's time to make Mama's Enchilada casserole. We have our rotisserie shredded chicken, pico de gallo, sour cream, Tex-Mex cheese, tortillas, enchilada sauce and a little bit of canola oil. So first things first, you want to make sure your oil is soft ripples in the pan, just a little bit hot, but we're not making chips, right? So you don't need to make it too hot. And if you see some smoke coming off of it, you're hitting that smoke point, you can cool it down a little bit. You want your enchilada sauce to be at a slight boil. We're not cooking anything, we're just warming everything up. We're gonna start our first layer of the casserole. So we're gonna put our tortilla inside of the oil. And we're going for little bubbles. You're gonna see the bubbles pop up onto the tortilla. That's how you know you're done. And then we're gonna go into the sauce and cover them in this gorgeous Mitieta green salsa. We're gonna put it in from the saucepan right into the bottom of the casserole dish. So then we go again. There we go. A little easy flip. And you keep going until you have the first layer. I tend to make it a little bit heavier on the bottom because that's your base, you know what I mean? So you gotta have a heavy base on there. This pan right here easily will feed a family of 5 and you'll have some leftovers when you're done. This is something my mom used to make all the time as a kid. This was like a quick go-to dinner. And as a kid, I always thought restaurants were doing it wrong or they're doing something weird. I'm like, why are they rolling all their enchiladas? I don't get it. It's because my mom made them this way. We're gonna pour that right over the top. There we go. Cover the edges a little bit. Just enough cheese to keep it cheesy going on in there. Our shredded rotisserie chicken. And you don't want to put too much chicken on each layer, but just enough because you really want to make this stretch out through the whole dish. So we have cheese and chicken for this bottom base layer. And now we're going to do it all over again. Same process as before. Tortillas, covered in the sauce, back on top. It's really like a Tex-Mex lasagna is really what you're making here. Now while this is going, you want to make sure that your oven is preset to 375. You're going to want to cook it about 15 minutes. All right, so we got our layers built. Next up, we're going to put all the cheese on top and then right into the oven. Our time is up in the oven, and as you can see, we have a gorgeous texture on there. The cheese is melted perfectly. And it looks good. There you go. Right onto a nice plate like this. You add a little bit of sour cream on top. All of our stuff right here from H-E-B. Put a little bit of pico de gallo. And you got yourself a nice slice of an enchilada casserole, just like Mom used to make. Gotta take a bite though. Gosh, this looks good. It smells delicious. Here we go. That's the bite. Absolutely delicious. Mom would be proud. Glad I made it like this. And you guys can go to ksat.com/TexasEats to get this recipe and all the ingredients you'll need. Really easy, quick, and a good way to feed the whole family. Texas Eats, we'll be right back. Oh, hot. What says Tex-Mex more than breakfast tacos and Big Red? Right behind me, there's a stand serving them up here at the historic Pearl Brewery during the farmers market. Happens every weekend. It's right in the heart of the bustling shopping center. We're gonna walk around and see what's going on out here while I take a bite of the food. Bexar County wildflower. So are there different bee farms that are around the area that you guys are sourcing from, or is it all just your farms?
This is ours. So our bees make it and we sell it. Everything, again, has a little different flavor profile. The first one you tried.
That was more floral.
Yes,
All right, Mike, so you're gonna make some beignets.
That's right. So I kind of shape it into a square rectangle, slightly start rolling it out. You want a nice, soft, doughy center. So we're gonna take these, we're gonna drop them in the oil. It's at about 370 degrees Fahrenheit. The cook time is about 1.5 minutes on each side. We're looking for them to just be golden and beautiful little fluffy pillows like this.
Look at that. You don't even want to eat it. You just want to kind of hug it.
We've been using other people's products to help create flavors, so we do something new every single week.
You're putting salsa on a beignet.
Yes, and you can see the dark chocolates going inside the beignet. Then on top, we have that chipotle orange marmalade.
Dark chocolate inside the beignet.
Yep. Chipotle orange marmalade on top, and then our Christmas cream, which is the Mexican table cream. And you can see we put green glitter in it for the holiday season. There's a little bit of fat consistency to mellow out the heat and the citrus. And then just a little dusting of sugar.
Just a little dust.
Little dusting of sugar. And that completes that.
With every great meal, you got to wrap it up with a great dessert. And a big shout out to HEB, the Historic Pearl Brewery, the Culinary Institute of America, Ray's Drive-In, Sangria on the Bird, Grain for Grain, and Ay Que Rico Food Truck. And don't forget to join us every Saturday at 10 o'clock right here on KSAT 12, because this is how Texas eats. Oh my Lord. I get it. Oh my goodness. It's sweet. It's a little spicy. Full of chocolate. I love this place. Oh my gosh, the chocolate.